same couch, same lamp, an evening you've had 100 times. To you, nothing here has changed, but somewhere in this room, your cat is tracking sounds you can't hear, clocking movement you're not registering, and quietly checking exactly how many ways there are to leave. Same room, completely different experience. That gap between what you notice and what your cat notices is where most of your cat's stress actually lives. Not in dramatic events, in 10 ordinary objects already in your home, quietly feeding stress when the exposure is unpredictable or impossible to escape. This is Cat Analyze, real research, every video. Stick around, the 10th item is the one almost every home gets wrong. First, the doorbell. It rings and your cat is gone before the second chime finishes, flattened under the bed or halfway up a shelf you didn't know they could reach. You already know a loud noise startles a cat. What's easy to miss is why this particular sound keeps working, chime after chime, year after year. Most sounds in a house follow a pattern your cat can learn. Footsteps arrive before you enter a room. Water running means the shower's about to start. A doorbell skips that step entirely. Full volume, zero warning, and it's reliably followed by an unfamiliar person crossing into what your cat treats as secured territory. Researchers at Ohio State University studied cats with a diagnosed bladder condition alongside cats with no health problems at all, and found that unusual external events, a sudden change in routine, an unfamiliar disruption, increased sickness behaviors in both groups. Vomiting, reduced appetite, avoiding the litter box, even in the cats with nothing medically wrong. The nervous system doesn't appear to distinguish cleanly between a big disruption and a small one. It just registers unpredictability. Give your cat a reliable retreat spot near the entryway, a shelf or covered bed with a clear line to the door, and they can watch the commotion from safety instead of getting caught in the open. Predictability is doing the real work here. A cat that can see the disruption coming, even a startling one, processes it as information rather than an ambush. The same fix works for smart speaker chimes and notification pings. It was never really about the doorbell. Second, the vacuum, and it works for reasons that stack on top of each other. First, volume. A cat's hearing extends up into frequencies well beyond what a human ear can register at all, which means a sound that's merely loud to you can be close to unbearable a few feet from the source. Second, movement. A vacuum doesn't travel in a straight, readable line. It lurches, stops, reverses, without any of the visual cues a cat would normally use to predict where something is headed. Add an unfamiliar smell coming off the machine itself, and you've got sound, motion, and scent all misbehaving at once. Run it while your cat is already shut in a separate room, rather than starting it in the open, where they discover it by surprise. One thing worth correcting here: picking up or restraining a frightened cat during the noise doesn't reassure them. It removes their ability to retreat, and that loss of control tends to spike the panic rather than easing it. Some cats settle into this faster than others, and that's normal. The fix stays the same either way. If any of this is new to you, Cat Analyze breaks down your cat's world through actual research every week. Subscribe if that's useful to you. Third, the ceiling fan, and this one's stranger. In mice, researchers have found that a shape suddenly expanding overhead, what's called a looming stimulus, triggers an automatic freeze or flee reaction before the animal has time to consciously react. It's a documented reflex, published in the journal Current Biology, tied to visual circuits built for one job: spotting something like a hawk dropping from above. Nobody has run this exact experiment on cats. Cats share much of the same visual wiring, though, and that offers a plausible explanation. A ceiling fan switching on, a decoration swaying near a vent, a shadow crossing a skylight, any of it can register for a split second as that same ancient category of threat. Cats also seem to process visual motion somewhat faster than we do. Estimates vary study to study, but the general finding holds. Movement you barely register, your cat may be catching in far more detail. That includes things you'd never think to flag: a curtain shifting in a draft, a shadow from a passing car on the ceiling. You don't need to remove every fan in the house. Introduce a new one at low speed first, in daylight, while your cat already feels secure, rather than switching it to full speed the first time they happen to be underneath it. None of this means your home is dangerous. It means your cat is running a threat assessment system that never fully powers down indoors, shaped by a much older world with actual predators in the grass. Once you notice that system working, a lot of behavior that looked random starts looking like exactly what it is. A reasonable response from an animal reading the same room you're in completely differently. Fourth, the mirror in your hallway. Owners often assume a cat puffing up at it thinks it's seeing itself, some kind of identity crisis playing out on the wall. That's probably not what's happening. A study analyzing filmed cat reactions to mirrors, published in the journal Animal Behavior and Cognition, found the responses clustering into a few repeated patterns: cautious investigation, occasional aggression, simply losing interest. None of it resembled the self-directed behavior you'd expect from an animal that recognized the reflection as itself. The more likely explanation is that cats build their sense of what something is from smell and sound as much as sight. A mirror hands them a visual cat with none of the matching scent or sound attached. That mismatch, not fear of the self, seems to be what triggers the wary staring. If your cat tenses near a specific mirror, move it out of the main walking path, or angle it so it isn't the first thing they see rounding a corner. Most cats settle once the reflection stops being a surprise. Fifth, and your cat might actually love this one, which is worth understanding rather than just correcting. A grocery bag hits the kitchen floor, and your cat is already pawing at the crinkling plastic. The sound closely resembles a small animal moving through dry leaves, exactly what a hunting cat is wired to chase. The danger isn't the sound, it's what can happen next. A paw or a head caught in a bag handle can trigger real panic, and panic can tighten the plastic instead of loosening it, which is a genuine suffocation risk, not a minor one. Veterinary sources consistently flag this as one of the more serious, easily avoidable hazards in an ordinary home. Cut the handles off bags before they hit the floor, and give your cat a dedicated crinkle toy instead. Same sound and texture, no way for it to close around them. If your cat already has a favorite bag, don't panic and yank it away mid-play. Swap it out calmly the next time they lose interest. Sixth, your essential oil diffuser. It deserves a more careful look than most owners give it. Cats process certain plant-based compounds differently than we do. That comes down to a liver enzyme most mammals rely on, one that doesn't function the same way in the domestic cat. That difference matters most with concentrated exposure, direct skin contact, ingestion, or airborne droplets from an oil diffuser or a reed diffuser. Several commonly used oils, tea tree and citrus among them, have documented toxicity cases ranging from drooling and vomiting to more serious liver involvement. That's a real risk worth taking seriously, not a reason to panic over every scented thing in your house. The dose and the delivery method are what separate a real hazard from a non-issue, not the mere presence of a scent. A candle burning nearby is a different, much lower category of exposure, mostly ambient fragrance rather than concentrated oil, though it's still worth being thoughtful about in a room your cat spends a lot of time in. Keep any concentrated oil product out of reach entirely, and treat natural as a marketing word rather than a safety guarantee. Drooling or unsteadiness near any scented product is worth a same-day call to your vet. Seventh, the plug-in air freshener down the hall, and it's a different problem entirely. Less toxicity, more volume and control. You like that fresh linen burst every 20 minutes. It feels clean, intentional. Your cat's nose works on an entirely different scale than yours, with vastly more scent receptors picking up far more of the room than you do. What reads to you as a pleasant background note can read to your cat as a wall of concentrated scent they can't predict or opt out of. Add the sudden hiss most dispensers make right before the burst, and you've stacked an unpredictable noise on top of an overwhelming smell. That's often in the exact hallway your cat has to cross to reach food, water, or the litter box. Move the diffuser out of any hallway your cat regularly walks through into a room they can choose to avoid. A closed door does more here than a milder scent setting ever will. The same logic applies to scented litter, scented trash bags, anything designed to smell strong on purpose in a space your cat can't opt out of. Eighth, and every item so far has been something that happens to your cat. This one is different. It's an object that moves through the house entirely on its own, on a schedule you set and it doesn't, and your cat's brain has no clean category ready for that. 2 in the afternoon. A low hum rises from beneath the couch, and a disc glides out, turning a slow, deliberate corner toward the sunspot your cat has claimed since morning. A regular vacuum is at least operated by someone your cat knows. A robotic one changes direction in ways that track with nothing your cat recognizes, and it won't back off. A cat's usual warning toolkit, hissing, a raised paw, a warning swat, assumes the other side will respond and retreat. This thing just keeps going. Schedule its runs for a time your cat is reliably in a separate room, and most of the problem resolves immediately. Ninth, you rearranged the furniture. To you, that's decorating. To your cat, it can read as the map being wrong. Cats mark their environment constantly through facial pheromones, scent signals left by rubbing a cheek against a doorframe or a chair leg. That scent map is part of how they confirm a space is already known and safe. Move the couch, and you haven't just changed a sightline, you've erased a stretch of territory they'd already marked, along with the route they used to cross the room, without feeling exposed. You don't need to keep every room frozen in place. When you do change something significant, give your cat quiet, unsupervised time to explore the new layout before guests or activity fill the room. That rebuilds the scent map faster than you'd expect. It's the same reason a cat explores a new piece of furniture nose first before ever settling on it. They're not being cautious for no reason. They're rereading the room. By now, a pattern should be forming. It's rarely the object itself that's the real problem. It's whether your cat can predict it, get away from it, or make sense of what it's doing there. 10th, and the one almost every home gets wrong, your litter box. Picture using a bathroom you can't fully see out of, tucked down a dead-end hallway, with exactly one way in and one way out. That's what a covered box shoved into a closet corner amounts to for a cat. Veterinary guidelines on feline environmental needs list a safe, easily escaped toileting space as a basic requirement, alongside separated resources and real control over the environment, not an optional extra. A covered box traps odor against the cat's face, and its narrow entry slows down any fast exit. Placement makes it worse when the box is wedged where another pet, or a wall, or an appliance can block the only way out. Go uncovered, somewhere with a clear line of sight and more than one direction to retreat. If covering it matters to you, choose a box with 2 openings so your cat is never committed to a single exit before they're done. It's a small change for you. For a cat whose most vulnerable moment of the day happens in that box, it's the difference between a chore and a genuine risk. Picture that same living room again. Same couch, same light, same low hum from the fridge 2 rooms away. You don't need to strip this home down to something silent, empty, or completely redesigned for your cat to feel safer in it. A few thoughtful changes, a retreat spot here, a repositioned diffuser there, an uncovered litter box, make the same ordinary home more predictable, more understandable, and easier to escape if something goes wrong. Cats don't need a different house. They need a floor plan that still makes sense to something built to be both hunter and hunted, an animal doing math about safety in every room it enters, all day, every day. These changes don't just stop the visible flinch, they let that math stop running, at least for a while, so what they buy your cat is something closer to actual rest. Same room, but get this right, and your cat finally stops waiting for it to turn on them. Tell us in the comments which object your own cat already avoids or watches like it's plotting something. We read every one. If this changed how you see your own living room, subscribe to Cat Analyze. Thanks for spending these minutes seeing your home the way your cat already does.